What's up everyone, it's Kelly and today I've got another swatch review for you. So today we are talking about the highly anticipated OPI Big Zodiac Energy collection, which I'm very excited about as a big astrology fan. But we've got 12 new nail polishes, each one representing a different zodiac sign. And let me tell you, I am blown away by these polishes. I think generally OPI tends to play it safe and do mostly cream mainstream sort of polishes. And maybe once a year, usually for the winter holidays, they'll do something a lot more sparkly and intense, but this time they really went all out. They have very unique color combinations and finishes going on, and I am just really excited to review them. So let me just dive into the swatches, then we can talk a little bit more about my thoughts on them, pricing, availability, all that good stuff. So roll the swatch footage. So as with all of my swatch and review videos, I am using base coat underneath all of my swatches just to protect my natural nail and prevent any stains. Today it's the Orly Bonder base coat. So we'll go in rainbow order, not in zodiac order. This first shade is called Big Sagittarius Energy, and it's this gorgeous deep red, almost maroon sort of color. It has a little bit of a purpley pinky undertone to it, and it's really opaque, but I did need 2 coats for full coverage. And this one does have that sort of pearlized shimmer in there that causes a brushstrokey finish, which personally I love. I think it's subtle enough that even if you don't like a brushstrokey finish, this polish will still work for you because it's such a deep shade and the shimmer isn't like a silvery shimmer like pearly shimmers tend to be. So super stunning color, really good formula. I imagine this one with a matte top coat would be so perfect for the winter holidays, by the way. I know I'm getting ahead of myself. I just like to think about it. Next up, we have another gorgeous red. This one is called Kiss My Aries, and this is an incredible, vibrant, juicy red shimmer, and it actually seems to have little micro flakies in here that are gold and red. And as you can see, this actually gave me 1 coat coverage. I love an OPI red. I think that whenever I think of red nail polish, I'm always thinking of OPI, and they just excel at making them. This shade is so gorgeous. I feel like I could get away with wearing it in 1 coat, but I generally like to do 2 coats anyway with OPI polishes just because they're a little bit on the thinner side and I want it to feel like I have a full manicure on. But again, just a classic any time of year sort of red. Really love this color, but especially loving the idea of wearing this for the fall and for the winter holidays again. Next up, we have the shade #Virgoals, and this is when it started getting really exciting for me. I was impressed with the first 2 reds, but this was where I was like, wait, this is a little funky and I love it. So this one is this almost brownish orange base color, but then it has an iridescent shimmer running throughout that head on looks green, but around the edges, it looks more like a pinky color. And honestly, the shimmer is hard to capture on camera, but you can see that gorgeous orangey sort of color and a little bit of that green shimmer, and then at more extreme angles you see the pink, and I just thought that was so unique. I loved the way that it looked in 2 coats. You really couldn't see the visible nail line unless you were in a lower lighting situation, but absolutely stunning shade and really, really original. Moving on, we have the Leo-nly One. Why did I pronounce that so weird? I don't know. But this one is a golden yellow base that has this intense yellow shimmer that almost looks a little greenish in certain lighting situations. It actually reminded me of one of the polishes from the Orly NASA collab because it just had a very similar vibe, but I love the contrast between this like golden yellow base color and this almost greenish yellow shimmer. It just looks so beautiful. I was pretty impressed with the coverage here. In the first coat, I thought it was going to end up being a 3-coater, but it did end up giving me full coverage in 2, so I was pleased with that. Definitely has a very light streakiness to it, but I found that it was very easy to work with and it didn't look bad when I was applying it slightly sloppily, so I think it'll be fine. Next up, we have Taurus-t Me. And this one is a sheer green shimmer, but in addition to that green shimmer, we also have these almost coppery golden flecks running throughout. So you can see this is definitely a sheer. Honestly, I thought it looked like such a super pretty, sparkly wash of color in the first coat. Personally, I would probably wear this as a 2-coater because I do love a sheer look, and I really just love the mix of colors in here with that greenish shimmer, but also with the golden flakes that just add a little bit of contrast. But I ended up trying a third coat, and you could see that green color shows through a lot more vibrantly in the third coat. You still see a little bit of visible nail line, but it's very softened because of all of the shimmer in there. It's definitely hard to see, but this is another just really unique shade, definitely unexpected coming from OPI. Of course, I had to also try it as a topper, but sometimes polishes like this, when they're toppers, they look pretty streaky, and I was half expecting for that to happen with this one. So I ended up being really impressed seeing it over black. It actually ended up looking really gorgeous. It definitely took on a little bit of a darker coloring, and those golden flakes ended up looking a lot more yellowy. So it was giving me, I don't know, like kind of snaky vibes. So I thought that was very cool. Moving on, we have Feelin Capricorn-y. And I was really excited when I saw this one in the bottle. It's this deep forest green, and it is absolutely packed with shimmer, and it looks to be an iridescent shimmer. So head on, it looks almost like a pinky purple color, but around the edges you can see more of an orangey, even into yellow color. And I was really excited about this one. When I applied 2 coats, I didn't love the way that it looked. I feel like it was maybe supposed to be on the sheer side, but it did feel a little bit patchy. It just felt like the polish was more opaque around the edges of my nail than it looked in the center. So I was happier with it in 3 coats. I do wish it was either more opaque or more of a jelly. I just feel like it's kind of somewhere in between, and it doesn't feel too intentional, but the color itself is really gorgeous. So maybe I'll try pairing it over a similar green base. Next up, we have Pisces the Future, and oh my gosh, this one blew me away in the bottle. I feel like my camera did not do this color justice, but it's this gorgeous, super soft pearlized blue that has this purple pearlized shimmer running throughout. I feel like that purple shimmer was definitely a little bit shy on camera. It definitely looked a little bit more silvery, but oh my gosh, what a stunning shade. It really does look like a beautiful blue pearl, very ocean vibes, and I feel like this is the sort of color you could wear any time of year. I started off with 2 coats, and I actually did think it looked really pretty. It had a slight touch of sheerness to it, but I actually really liked it. But once I applied the 3rd coat, I was even more impressed because that color just became so much more vibrant, and that purpley shimmer in there, you can kind of see it on the left side, but it really came alive. So I would probably wear this one as a 3-coater. Next up, we have the shade Scorpio Seduction, and this one is a deep blue flaky shimmer. I have to say, we have been getting a lot of these for this season, but I will never get tired of an intense blue shimmer. I love that sort of lit from within look that they give, and this one actually was the most opaque out of all of the recent blue flaky shimmers that I've tried, so I was really impressed with that. Definitely the deepest color, and something that I couldn't capture on camera, but you could see a little bit in real life, was at more extreme angles you actually get a little bit of a purpley tone with this color. So it's a little bit dimensional, and it's really gorgeous. Definitely giving me a little bit of a winter vibe, but I'm into it. And then we have the shade Aquarius Renegade, and this one is another blue, but this time it is paired with that almost white metallic pearly shimmer. So I love these types of shades from OPI. I just said it, but this one was so opaque. Again, it gave me 1 coat coverage, which was so impressive. This one definitely gave a little bit more of that brushstrokey vibe because the shimmer within it was so light, but it ended up looking really gorgeous on the nails. I just love the way that these types of shimmers make my nail look a little bit longer, even though they are on the short side. But such a stunning deep color. I feel like this is going to be perfect for stamping because it's so opaque, but I will also be very happy to wear it on its own. Then we have the shade Feelin Libra-ted. liberated. And this one is a jelly fuchsia kind of color. So it definitely sits somewhere between being a pink and being a purple. I would say the base is a little bit more on the pinky side, but the shimmer within it is definitely more on the purple into almost like a bluish color. And then we also have these slightly bigger glass flecks in there. So it's very multifaceted. It catches the light so nicely. Again, I had that situation where in 2 coats, it was a little bit sheer, but not in a uniform way. It was just a little bit more sheer on the center of my nail than it looked around the edges. But in 3 coats, it looked super gorgeous. I'm a little bit disappointed about that because I do love a jelly look and I wish it was a little bit more uniform. But in 3 coats, I loved it. It was definitely feeling like a good Barbie kind of color, but also with just like a little tinge of purple, which I love. And then we have the shade I Cancer-tainly Shine, which represents my zodiac sign, which is Cancer. And I have to say, I was pretty excited about this. I feel like Cancer is almost always depicted as a silver, but this time we got a little bit of an upgrade because this this is a holographic silver, although I will say, and this is something that's pretty common with mainstream polishes, it's not as holographic as some polishes are. It's definitely more on the silvery side unless you are right in the direct sunlight. So here's what it looked like in 2 coats, and I was pretty pleased with how it looked. It's more of like a full coverage, flaky sort of glitter, but it ended up applying really smooth and it felt really smooth on the nail, which was impressive. And I think that's what I love about flakies over hex glitters. They just feel a little bit more seamless on the nail, but I did end up doing a 3rd coat just to see, and I got even more full coverage. So I don't know, I feel like it kind of just depends on the length of my nails. When they're on the longer side, I'll probably wear them in 3 coats, but on the shorter side, I'll probably just do 2 coats. And last but definitely not least, we have the shade Gemini I, and this one is a super soft, almost blush beige kind of base color, and then it is packed with this white metallic shimmer and like a slightly larger shimmer that's almost like a micro flaky. And this is such a stunning neutral color. It feels very bridal, it feels very chic. I loved the way that it looked in 1 coat. I love the way that it looks in 2 coats. If you want a more full coverage look, you can always do 3 coats, which I also tried out, and honestly I love it. I don't know what it is, but lately I have been so attracted to these neutral beigey sort of polishes. I don't know, it's weird because I'm usually such a colorful person, but I'm wondering if I'm going through my neutral nail polish era because I am just loving this sort of shade. I'm loving the elegance of it. So here are all of the shades together, and I am just so pleased with this color story. I feel like we got such a good amount of different colors going on here. We have the classic OPI reds, but then we also have so many unique shades, and what I think is especially unique about them is the combination of colors that are going on inside each one, like having that sort of orangey brown color with a greenish looking shimmer in there, having a green that has a pinky shimmer in there, having a blue pearl that has like a purpley sort of shimmer. It's just so unique, it's so different, and I love that they're giving attention to these different sort of colors rather than just focusing on what they do best, which is like the reds and the pinks and the neutrals. I feel like they really gave us a lot of fun colors to play with, so I'm very excited about that. But yeah, let's talk a little bit more about these. So yeah, those are the polishes, and overall I loved them. I know that people tend to be a little bit more critical when it comes to zodiac inspired things because you do get a polish that's supposed to represent your zodiac, and a lot of times people feel like it doesn't accurately represent them or isn't the color that they wanted it to be. But I will say I felt like I could very easily tell which colors were meant to represent which signs, so I think that's a good sign. But also as a whole, just the polishes themselves, regardless of the names and the theming, I think were just so incredible. I really loved seeing OPI go in this direction, really get funky with it, and also do these sort of interesting color combos. I think they just did a really amazing job. And I think one of the big things about a mainstream brand doing this is that it really introduces these types of funky colors and finishes to a mainstream audience that maybe is more used to plain creams and traditional colors. And I think it just opens up a whole new world for them, and it also gives them the opportunity to maybe explore things like independent nail polishes. And I just love to see anything that makes the nail polish world grow, so I'm very pleased to see it. So all of these polishes come in 15 milliliter bottles. They do have a wider flat brush, and it does have a straight tip, but I still think they're very easy to apply. So these polishes are available wherever OPI is sold. I get mine from Beyond Polish, which is a nail polish retailer, and there they retail for $8.75 USD, and you can use the discount code KELLI to get 10% off your order there, so I'll link it down below. You can check them out if you're interested. But yeah, like I said, I'm really into these. Huge thumbs up from me, but I'm curious to hear what you think. Do you like the collection as a whole? Do you feel that your sign is accurately represented here? And also, are you into zodiac at all? Let me know in the comments. We can chat about it. If you enjoy my swatch and review videos, please give this one a thumbs up. It lets me know I'm doing a good job. And if you're not already subscribed to my channel, please consider subscribing. I put out new videos every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday. I also have a second YouTube channel, my vlog channel, and I'm currently in the process of moving. So if you're interested in seeing that journey, definitely check that out. I'll put it in the cards. And of course, a huge shout out to my supporters on Patreon, my royal astronomer Amanda M, as well as my cosmic admirals Rocky Man's daughter, Paula, Ken, and Rosie. I really appreciate your support, and I will see you all in my next video. Bye. Today's fun fact question comes from Patreon supporter Amanda, and Amanda wants to know, do you pay someone to change your car oil for you, or do you do it yourself? Ooh, I feel like I'm gonna sound bad for saying this, but I'm really not handy at all. I do pay somebody to change change my oil. I do not know how to do it myself. Honestly, my knowledge when it comes to cars is extremely limited. I personally don't really care about cars. I don't really care about my car. I try to take care of it in the ways that I think I'm supposed to, but honestly, it is a cheap car and it really just gets me from A to B, and that's all that I need for it. And I also just think in general I'm not very handy, but now that I am in a house, I feel like I need to learn pretty quickly to become handy. So it's something that I am trying to do, but I think the handiness that I would like to learn is more in terms of like house stuff and repairs. I'm probably still going to have somebody do my car stuff for me. Although it is tough because I feel like, especially when I go to a car dealership or a place that does that myself, I feel like they always want to charge me 20 times more than if I'm going with Ryan or with somebody else, especially a guy. Then they'll only charge me for what I need. You know what I mean? I don't know why a lot of places are like that. I hate it. It's super scammy. But yeah, that's it. I'll see you all in my next video. Bye.